Hello, happy Thursday. It's 1 o'clock. I am live. Brian Cristiano, CEO of Bold Worldwide. Super pumped. Thank you for tuning in. I'm really excited, right? I'm renaming this, right? Because before we were kind of floating on the Thursday lives at 1 p.m. Eastern with just Facebook Live. I'm calling it Do or Die. What do you think of the name, right? Because that's kind of my mentality, right? You gotta go for it. You're gonna do or you're gonna die. Right? You're going to adapt or you're going to go extinct. You're going to do what you need to do and get the results that you want, or you're not going to do what you need to do and you're not going to end up where you want to be. It's do or die. It's the mentality. It's putting yourself in a place where this is it. I'm going to succeed regardless. I'm going to put myself in a mental state to push through any barriers, to push through any challenges. Whether we're talking personally, whether we're talking business or marketing, it's really about getting outside of your comfort zone. That's what we're going to do here today. We're going to get you outside of your comfort zone. I'm just pulling up my my Facebook feed here so I can just make sure I'm seeing the correct stuff, as always, because you know this by now. I'm running into this stuff, right? Back to back, other stuff. Came out of a really great meeting this afternoon. Ran right down here, adjusting a proposal right on air. I'm gonna use my pen. I'm gonna use my pen here, right? Content versus marketing, right? I want to make sure I touch on that. Company brand versus personal brand, right? And then being married to an entrepreneur. All right. So before I get into all this. I got to turn my audio down on my phone here. Before I get into all this, just do it. What's up, Jose? How are you? Thanks for tuning in. So before I get into what we're going to talk about today specifically, I do want to say we actually did not make our air deadline this Tuesday of episode 8 of Growing Bold. We made the last minute adjustment and decision to say, you know what, we're actually going to push this off 1 week. We're going to make sure that the content that we're doing is right, that we have time to edit it properly. It just really genuinely goes to show you how freaking nuts my schedule is right now, how crazy the team schedule is, how we're trying to adjust our priorities based on just like what needs to get done today. What's the biggest priority? When you're trying to scale and grow a company, you're always going to be faced with that challenge of what am I going to have to sacrifice in order to do the most important thing right now, while keeping in mind the ultimate end goal, right? So that's where I'm at. So we missed airing that, but if you hang on a little bit, I'm going to show you a little 1.5-minute teaser of the edit that is complete. Okay, I'm going to actually do something I don't think any entrepreneur, blogger in the business side of things has done or is doing. Because I made a promise when we first started doing content, we first started doing Growing Bold, when we first started doing Facebook Lives, that I said, listen, I'm going to be real with you, like really real, like get into the weeds, get into the dirt, talk about how it really is, show you as much as I possibly can behind the scenes and let you in, right? Because there's a lot of awesome stuff going on, but there's a lot of challenges. And I think one of the biggest challenges that everyone faces, whether you're an entrepreneur, a business owner, somebody climbing the corporate ladder, it's time. And when you run out of time, when you're running out of hours in the day, it doesn't just impact you. It doesn't just impact business. It impacts your personal life, right? Like my wife has made probably more sacrifices than I have, and I love her to death because of it. And so episode 8 that we're going to now push to Tuesday, we're letting you behind the scenes, right? Like Allie, my wife, it was awesome enough to say, hey, you know what? Sure, I'll let you follow me around with a camera. We'll do some stuff, right? We'll be honest. We'll be open about it. And so we both talked about the challenges and show some behind the scenes of just like our life in addition to the business, and like how we're dealing with it and like some of the challenges. So it's really very personal to me, and it's somewhere where honestly I'm like, man, do I really want to go there? The answer is yes, right? So I'm going to take you guys there. So I'm going to show you a 90-second clip of that in a little bit here. How many of you that are on the live stream right now struggle with the amount of time that you have in a day? Wish that you could have 48 hours in a day instead of 24. Say yes if you wish you had more time available to you. If time is a big challenge for you, let me know. let me know. Just going to get adjusted here again. Whoops. Okay. Company, brand, entrepreneur, personal brand, right? And then we're going to talk about being married to an entrepreneur. So I'm just pulling this back up here. Thanks for your patience. Never enough time in the day. Yes, John. Yes, Dennis. Dude, time is challenging. I genuinely, like, people are like, oh, how you doing? Like, you wish you could get more sleep? And I'm like, no, I wish I could figure out how to get freaking 48 hours in a day. I would much prefer, you know, this is the thing for me too, right? Like, I require, if I get like 7 hours of sleep, 7.5, I'm good. Like, I feel good, rested. My two biggest challenges with that, one is inconsistency. Like, I'm not going to bed at 11 p.m. every day and getting up at 4:30 in the morning. Like, I'm going to bed some days at 4:30 in the morning, getting up at 7, and then other days trying to just hit the hay early at 9 and getting up at 4. It's a mess, right? The inconsistency will really screw you up, by the way, if we're talking about that. But more importantly, people are like, oh, don't you wish you could get more sleep? And I'm like, no, I wish I could get less sleep. I wish, dude, that I didn't care about sleep. I wish that my body would function and my mind would function like full throttle on 2 hours of sleep. Because I don't want to sleep, man. I need it. I like it. But I don't want it. I wish time was bought with money. You know, that's a good point. That's a really good point, Jose. You know, I think that's something that we all forget about. Dude, this is non-renewable. Time is a non-renewable resource. You don't get this back. You don't get to do something and get more of it. Like, the timer, unfortunately, is set for all of us. This is that do or die, right? The timer, the clock is ticking for you. The clock is ticking for me. And unfortunately, if we at least knew how much time was left on the clock, we could probably make a lot of decisions based on it. But nobody knows. But it is counting down. It does shut off. The timer goes off at some point and it's over, right? And so, unfortunately, you can't get any more of this back, which is why I am so serious about telling you, myself, my staff, my friends, my family that, like, dude, live out your life. When you're spending time doing crap that you don't like to do, crap that's not valuable to you, stuff that you just don't want to do. Now, obviously, we got to all do stuff we don't want to do to get to where we want to go. But if you're doing stuff that doesn't ultimately get you where you want to go, and you're just doing it to just, like, exist, screw that, man. I'm not living like that. I don't want you to live like that. Like life should be challenging. Life shouldn't be easy. It's never easy. But if it's going to be challenging, it should be getting you towards where you want to go. You should be challenging yourself in the places that you want to be better at. You should be challenging yourself at things that are going to make you better and improve you as a person, you as a professional, you as whatever you want to be. You need to be challenged. But you don't get this time back. So the way that I think about it is, like, every minute that I'm doing something that doesn't ultimately either get to my goal or add value to myself, add value to other people, make me happy, make me excited, if I'm just, like, doing shit to just, like, exist, I immediately snap out of it and remind myself, like, dude, these are minutes you don't get back. What are you doing? What are you doing? You don't get those minutes back. Lalo, what's up, brother? Thanks for checking in here. Thanks for checking in. So with that, I am going to, let me set this up here. Hopefully we don't have any technical issues too badly today. I'm going to roll in 90 seconds of what will be Growing Bold Episode 8. Okay, very personal to me, very personal to my wife. So again, like, this is a place that, honestly, entrepreneurs aren't going here. People vlogging aren't going here. Like, the real, raw, like, challenges of life. So I'm gonna roll this in 90 seconds. I want your take on it. I want you to let me know. Is this something? Is this Brad? What's up from the other side of the office? My man. I want you to let me know honestly. Like, is this a topic that's interesting to you? Do you want to see more after seeing this little teaser? Do you want to know more? What questions do you have? Right? Because it's going to air on Tuesday. It's going to come out Tuesday. We're going to try to do it about 1 o'clock on Tuesday. Here we go.
The constant, like, well, it's work, and so I just need to, like, shut up and deal with it. That to me isn't always okay. Like, sometimes, yeah, you know, like, hey, like, a client email, please respond to your client. Like, your client's wrath is probably scarier than mine.
No.
Maybe not.
There's no client scarier than you.
It's very hard to plan my life because I very much think we all the time. And you think we, but we is you and your business. We, for me, I think, is us. So like,
you're my mistress.
That don't put that
to the business.
Giggling, and then we'll go.
Man.
Are you gonna tune into this episode? It's out on Tuesday. If I don't know if it's gonna be out on Tuesday. I don't know if we're gonna get through this. When was the last time we ate dinner without essentially having a client at the table with us or having an employee at the table, like,
right? Which,
you know, would be more fun if they were there in real life. I would gladly, you know, have a nice dinner party with all your employees. Do you have your wallet?
Yeah.
Cool.
What time is it now? It's
11:37.
Just gonna leave it.
My greatest fear is, when it comes to our future, is having kids and having to do it by myself. And you missing stuff and like the kid falling out of a high chair and I don't know what to do and I just panic and freak out because that's my response. And you're the very practical one. And if the practical one's not around, we're just fucking doomed.
So, what did you think? Wife is our CEO. That's awesome, John. What do you think? You know, I am the CEO. A wife is a CFO, you're the CEO. That's awesome. That's awesome, man. Still married. Good for you. That's tough. That's tough. We try not to do too much work together because I think that's a big challenge for people, right? You know, I'm curious. You know, your wife is wife goals. Hell yeah, Aubrey, right? That's awesome. Now, my wife is a saint for putting up with my crap, to be honest with you. Teresa is in here. This is fantastic. I love this. I love this. Man, Facebook Live is super cool. I thank you guys for everybody who's joined. Yeah, my wife is a saint for putting up with my crap, but you know, I think for, you know, we're talking about like being married to an entrepreneur, right? Dude, it's tough, man. I wouldn't want to put up with me. Seriously, I really wouldn't. You know, it's one of those things where it's a million miles an hour, and the decisions that I make in the business not just impact the business and myself and my employees, it impacts my wife. It impacts her happiness. It impacts the things that she wants to accomplish in life, right? Like, obviously, we try to be as good as we can with, you know, with our communication and our, you know, mutual goals and things like that. And I think we do a pretty damn good job, but it ain't perfect. That's for sure. It definitely is not perfect. You know, the challenge is really just like, you know, hey, look, like, how do you balance this out, right? And I know I've talked about this before. There is no balance. There's no such thing. Balance is garbage. Balance is boring, right? Dude, live in extremes. Like, feel the extremes on both sides. I think that's one of the most valuable things that I've experienced as a person is the super high highs and the real, like, depressing lows, because you appreciate the highs more, right? And when you try to avoid the lows more, right? When you're playing in that middle ground, I always say it's death. It is. It's boring. It's death. Who wants to be there? Dude, you're awesome. Why wouldn't we stay tuned? Thanks, Lalo. Appreciate it. If it goes wrong, it will be us entrepreneurs for. Oh, dude, 100%, man. It's all on me. I mean, that's the thing, right? I mean, obviously my wife contributes, and she's, you know, she does great at, you know, what she does for a living. Like, so that's a thing. But like, dude, I've got the leverage as far as like screwing this up or making this into something incredible. It's all on me at the end of the day, right? So like, I like pressure. I work really well under pressure. I actually work best under pressure, but at the end of the day, man, it's on my shoulders. And so for me, it's like, it's real tough because I'm like, man, like, I want to be there. I want to spend this time. But if I do that, then I could like detriment this thing that's going on in the business side of what we're doing, which ultimately then I screw that up, ultimately could hurt her, could hurt my family. So it's a real delicate balance there. You know, one of the other things I want to, you know, I wanted to touch on while we're here is, you know, content versus marketing, right? Because one of the things in the questions and things that have come up a bunch, transitioning out of the wife thing real hard there, it is the difference between like content and marketing. And I think that the biggest misunderstanding is that it is the same. It is the same. When you're thinking about marketing in a silo, like, how do we make an ad that gets people to do this action? And then, oh, over here on this other silo, we're going to think about how do we create some cool content. You're missing out on the biggest opportunity, which is people want the story. People want the content. People want you to tell them a good story. People want to connect with you on a more personal, deeper level. That is your marketing. You put your paid media dollars behind that. Right? Then, of course, you can have your calls to action to drive, like, you know, lower funnel sales. Of course. Yeah. You got to have all that. But at the core of marketing today versus 5+ years ago is that Dude, content, entertainment, that is the marketing. Your story is your marketing. It's the same. Stop thinking about them as separate. Think about how do we just tell our story and then push that out through smart marketing channels like Facebook, right? So that's the difference between those two. And the other last one I'm going to jump on here before I open this up for a bit of Q&A. And we're going to try to do the live call-in, though we didn't test it before. And I know we had some technical issues last time, so we'll see if this works. I'm ready to blow stuff up in real time, though. I like that. But what's the difference between a company brand and a personal brand? This is the thing everyone gets wrong. Everyone, or almost everyone, is marketers and business people look at, well, my personal brand is this. This is what I stand for as a human. I'll use myself as an example. Oh, well, I like sports and I love dogs. And, obviously I'm a crazy maniac when it comes to business. I like entrepreneurship, but I have all these other things, this other basket. I need to figure out how I talk about that, but then how do I market Bold and talk about all the things that Bold is, right, as a company? Because what people get confused, and I got confused for many years. I'm not excluded from this. I'm only recently in the last couple of years figured this out, is for myself, directly, is how do you intertwine your business and your personal brands, meaning like me being the face of Bold, without doing two things, without either just being like a boring freaking talking head about marketing and business. One, that's a problem. There's a lot of people that do that just give like, hey, here's the 47 Facebook technical tips all day, but I don't know them as a person, so I don't really care unless I need that specific tip from them. I'm sure you've all seen some of that content. And look, and some of the content's valuable, but I don't know them as a person. They're just the person that throws up a webinar every once in a while, says like, I'm going to teach you the 3 things you need to know about Snapchat. That's great, and maybe it's valuable, but I don't know you as a person, so I don't care. Once I extract your information, I'm gone. I'm not paying attention to what you post next unless maybe I come back to you because you need information. So a lot of people get it wrong on that side because they're just worried about how do I get out my business information? I am the business. That's wrong. The flip side of the coin, the other extreme, is, well, business and personal need to be totally separate. So while I know I need to be out on social media personally, and you don't have to be the entrepreneur. You can be the marketing person or the VP of marketing at a brand that you work for, right? And we all know, oh, well, if you're out there and people know who you are, then through you will know the company that you work for or the company that you own. But we're going to talk about the company this way, and the company's going to have its own content and, show off what it does. And then you're going to talk about what you do. That's the other biggest mistake. And that's what most people do. Now you silo it. Now it's not intertwined. Nobody gives a crap about going to Bold Worldwide's Facebook page to see like the 5 reasons that Instagram is more popular than Snapchat. Nobody's going there to find that. They might find it through the grapevine eventually, either through search or pops up or somebody shares it because it was really good. But let's be honest, most of that stuff is not that good. It's not that interesting, right? And so, it's oh wow, my phone's gonna look crazy here, right? So it's just very corporate. It's a corporate line. Right? It's just we're talking to an audience in a broad sense by saying, "Oh, okay, well, we'll just give, we'll just give this tactical information based on what our business does." It's boring. Again, you come to the same problem that the personal brands have that do that, which is, all right, well, the only time and only reason I'm going to pay attention. Whoops. The only time I'm going to pay attention to that is if I need that information specifically in that moment. I'm not going to come to your website because you write a blog every day and it's the top 5 things about this and the 3 reasons you need to do that. And dude, there's no emotional charge there. You're just throwing information at me. You're just throwing data. I can get data. I'm just going to Google it. That's what everyone does. When you need data, when you're like, hey, I need to know, is Snapchat more popular than Instagram? What do? You Google it. And hey, maybe your SEO is good and maybe you wrote a good article and maybe it pops up to the top and maybe people come there. That's nice. But guess what happens when they're finished reading it? What do? Yeah, dude, you're gone. You're not emotionally attached to that content. You're not emotionally attached to that brand. You're like, oh, cool, I read something there that's interesting. I tab over, I go somewhere else. I'm done. I don't even remember where I read it, right? Because there's no brand. There's no story. It's just info. Dude, everybody's got info. That's easy. That's easy. So here's the deal. This is where you need to combine the two. The story is, in my case, as the CEO and founder and entrepreneur, in my case specifically, it's my story about how what I've been through, what I'm doing now, where I'm going, my vision of the world, how that impacts how I'm running this company, which ultimately impacts what we do as a business. That's why I'm sharing what I do. The branding for Bold is the secondary piece of this, because if you like what I'm talking about, if you're intrigued by what I'm saying and you go, wow, that's an interesting point, that's an interesting vision, that's wow, the quality of their work is really great, just even on their vlog. What is the quality of their work for their other more, bigger clients, right? And you can go down that rabbit hole, but you're creating an emotional, engagement like what we're doing now. Like we're talking, like a lot of you message me on day to day, and I'm trying to give you, some advice and some help. And I know, and I'm not worried, I'm not doing this so that, oh, well, hopefully all these people will pay me for some mastermind or whatever. Not to say I won't do something in the future, but that's not my end goal. My end goal is to grow Bold. Right? You all know that. And so if I can get my message out there about my vision of the world while simultaneously saying this vision in my little kooky freaking head here is what's kind of creating the vision for this company. And then I have even smarter people doing and running the parts of the company that are most impactful. And and by the way, here's those people and how they think and what they're doing and how they're working and how they think. Now you get that data still, but it's in a way where there's a human on the other end. There's a story. There's something to look forward to. Dude, are we going to grow this company $100 million? Are we going to blow it up? Are we going to make it there? Are we going to make it to $1 billion? Right? I mean, I know we will. But there's a charge. There's a reason to check back in. It's the balance of I'm going to give you information while also entertaining you and telling you a story that's true, that's real. I'm not making shit up. And that's the deep connection. And that's where the personal brand connects with the company brand. And so I'll give you another example, because obviously, you may work at a company where, hey, well, you know what? I'm one of 1,000 people. All right. Well, let's say you're the VP of marketing there. Your company, yourself, should be doing content from your point of view, what it's like to be the VP at this company, the decisions that you're making and why your product is the way that it is, and how you're looking into the future and saying, well, here's the product that we have today, but we really know and we think the marketplace is moving this way. So obviously you're not going to give away trade secrets, but your vision for the future, what got you there? Why do you work there? Why do you show up every day? What keeps you there, man? What are the challenges that your company's overcoming as in the changing marketplace? Man, if everyone in your company did that, or at least the people that have a good story, that are attached, that are well-spoken, that are charismatic, I would check in. Dude, I don't care if you sell cereal. If you're going to talk to me about why cereal is so freaking important, how when you were 3 years old, you grew up and you made your own granola in the backyard with your grandmother, and you always dreamed of working for Kellogg's, man. And now you are, and you're so passionate about the texture. Dude, I don't know, but that's fascinating. I don't even have to freaking be in a cereal. Anything can be boring. When you really take a step back and you go dude, yeah, but what you're doing is exciting. No, it's not. I run a B2B company that sells services from one business to another. It's pretty basic. But what I'm doing is showing you the passion behind what I'm doing. I'm showing you the passion behind the people that work for me. I'm showing you why I hire the people that I do and how badass they are, right? And so that's the difference in which I'm giving you the insight. I'm giving you the story. I'm giving you the passion, the emotion, right? Facts tell, stories sell. Really good salespeople don't sell on facts. I'll give you another great example. We'll go to selling, because everything's a sale in life. I have a good friend of mine who's one of the top salesmen at a very large, I guess I shouldn't mention the name, but card company, right? Or dealership that's one of the biggest in the Northeast, sells a lot. Well, whatever, right? One of the best. And I sat with him, I was asking him years ago, dude, what's the difference? What is the difference between why you're killing it, making 7 figures of income, and you got other people coming in the door, working twice as many hours, twice as hard, walking out with $0. They can't close a sale. What is the biggest difference? And if you look at any dealerships are great because it's the same across the board, which is that the top 10%, the top 10% of salespeople close 90% of the deals. The other 90% of the workforce, the other 90% of the salespeople don't do crap. So what's the difference? Here's the difference. This is how most people sell. This is almost everyone, right? You don't even have to be in car sales, but you get the picture. Somebody walks into your dealership. You're selling this beautiful red car, right? I'll get Mercedes. Right? You're selling this beautiful red Mercedes, and somebody walks over and they look at it. Most people, including salespeople, that 90%, instinct is to do this. Oh, it's a great car. It's amazing. It's got 450 horsepower. Oh, let me show you. The doors open automatically, and the steering wheel's made out of this super incredible leather that you can only get in this one place in the world, and it's the best handcrafted thing you've ever seen in your life. It's the best damn car in the world. And the person that's looking is like, okay, that's cool. Like, oh, maybe they're interested in some of it. That's great. That's nice. Okay. They don't close that sale most of the time. That's the average. That's the most salespeople. Here is the best salesperson. The person closing 90% of the deals. This is what he told me in a general sense, right? Kind of ad-libbing here. That same person walks in, goes over to that red Mercedes, walks up. And if I'm going to pretend to be him, I walk up and I say, hey, oh, why are you looking at this car? What do you think? Oh, well, looking for a new car this year. Oh, that's great. Have you ever owned a Mercedes before? No, I've never owned a Mercedes. Oh, it's amazing. Why are you looking for a Mercedes? Oh, well, you know what? I've always driven crappy cars and did really well this year, and I really want to treat myself. I want to feel good. Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Well, what's the thing that's most important to you? Like, whether it's a Mercedes or anything else, like, what's the thing to you that's most important in a car? I really just, I like to feel that it's made well, that it's a strong car. I want to know that when I'm driving around, people look at me and see the car and say, like, wow, you know what? Like, that guy, he's doing really well. He's a smart individual. And I would say at that point, why don't we get the keys? Why don't you take it for a spin? Really? Yeah, let's just take it for a spin. No obligation. Let's just get it in there. Take it around for 10, 15 minutes, see what you think of it. Okay, great. Get him in the car, go drive it around, and now say, how do you feel? Oh, you see that person driving by? They're just looking at you, man. You feel like $1 million, right? Oh, man, this is great. I feel good. Oh, how does it feel in your hands? Oh, it feels amazing. Feels good. Like, do you feel the sturdiness of it, right? You were talking about that. How does that feel when you're driving? Oh, man, it's great. You can feel the German engineering. Yeah, of course, man. It's one of the best cars in the world. You look good in it. Oh, thank you. Do you feel good? Oh, man, I feel great. Awesome. Why don't we pull in the parking lot? I'll go get the paperwork. Dude, deal done. Close. Come on. Why? Because I'm not selling them on the facts. I didn't talk about the motor. I didn't talk about the engine. I talked about the things that were passionate to that person in that moment, that were the reasons emotionally why they're going to buy that car. Stories. The story that person wants is to say, I've got this amazing German machine that feels freaking amazing in my hands, and people drive by and look at me and I feel good about myself. I don't need to talk about an engine. Engine doesn't make you do that. Right? That's the difference. That's the difference between a super successful salesperson and like average to mediocre to like nobody. And it's crazy because it's like very few people to think that way. Very few people sell that way. Sell the experience. Man, I went off on this total tangent. I don't even remember how we got here. Here's what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to post up this, let me just make sure I do the graphics correctly this time and don't hang up. I'm going to post a number. I apologize ahead of time. If this blows up, doesn't work, you get disconnected 75 times, we don't end up doing a call. We're going to try it. Hopefully it works. Alana will answer your calls. Hopefully we transfer it in. If you want to call in right now, we'll do a live coaching session, work through a specific problem, marketing, business, entrepreneurship, or just ask me some questions, right? If they're legit. Number is 917-633-4840. Call in now. We'll get you queued up. We'll try to get you on the show, assuming we don't blow up the technology. In the meantime, any questions you got, Q&A that you want to hit up in the live stream here, ask me any questions. I'm just going to kind of read back a little bit from the comments as I was going down that rabbit hole there. The Nike example. Oh, Daniel, yeah, man. Yeah, Nike. That's a good one. I'll save that one for another day. Obviously, on my YouTube channel, I got that video posted if you want to check that out at Bold CEO on YouTube. John, what actions establish trust with customers aside from a good story? Being honest, being real, especially if we're talking about sales. Dude, everyone's been sold a bag of crap before, right? Everyone's been sold a bag of crap. Nobody wants it, right? Everyone wants to be treated real, fair, trustworthy, honesty. Dude, just be honest. Just be honest. I told a client the other day, or a prospect the other day, they're like, well, listen, like, what are the results we're going to get from this campaign? And I went, I can't tell you. I can't guarantee that. Here's what I want to happen. Here's how we're going to measure that. I can't make any guarantees because there is no guarantees in this campaign. Nobody's done it before. You haven't done it before. We haven't done it for you. There's no benchmark for you specifically with what we're trying to do. I don't know. He's like, well, we need to know. And I go, that's cool. Call anyone and everyone you want. I appreciate that and I get it. But if anyone is telling you that they can guarantee or we're going to be able to project exactly what the results are for you through your marketing, they're liars. Because it's not true. And he thought about it for a second. He was like, yeah, you know what? You're right, man. That's refreshing. It was weird at first because most people don't think that way. Most people don't talk that way, but it's refreshing. Call in 917-633-4840. We'll get you on real quick. We'll make it painless. I think somebody called in and we might be having tech problems. So if in another couple minutes they can't patch somebody, keep looking. If they can't patch somebody through, I'll take it down. We'll try again next week. But if you want to jump on, work through some business marketing questions, let's do it. Let's do it live. Assuming that it works. It might not. That might be the problem. Okay. Hums, facts tell, stories sell. Hell yes. Facts tell, stories sell. Sell the experience. Yeah, Aubrey, sell the experience. That's what people want, right? And the thing is too, and if you really look into what I was talking about from a sales perspective, I'm asking what they want. Just tell me, dude, like, what do you want? Why do you want to buy a car? Why do you want to buy a house? Why do you want a marketing campaign? What's the reason that you are in the market for this? Why are you buying it? Why are you thinking about buying it? Now I know. Otherwise, if I go back to that salesperson example, here's the deal. They're just guessing. Maybe that person knows nothing about motors and you're talking about 400 horsepower. They have no idea that matters. They don't care. They don't like horsepower. Like, why are you telling me something when you don't even know if I care about it? The questions are to understand, like, what do you really want to know? Let's both spend our time and energy somewhere talking about the things that are valuable to you, that are valuable to your decision here. And if I can't give you what you need, that's cool. That's all right. Like, no big deal. It's not that big of a deal. But I'm not going to waste your time. You don't want to waste your time, right? Let me just. Sorry, we're having some tech stuff. I don't know if the phone thing's going to work, so apologize. We'll keep the Q&As. Why don't we just open up this Q&A right here? Open it up in the live stream comment. Stephen Bott Jr. in the house. What's up? Michelle, sell or be sold. Oh, Michael. Sorry, dude. Sell or be sold. Hell yeah, 10x. Right? Sell or be sold. Dude, that's it, right? Same thing. Aaron, stories. Scrolling up here. That's true. Marketing stories, what keeps me tuned all the time. 24/7 technical setup. Became interested because of your stories. Oh, thanks, man. Thank you very much, Lalo. Yeah, it's the stories, right? If I just gave you tactics dry all day and was like, hey, this is 5 reasons why you should ask questions when you sell. Sure. Again, maybe that's valuable. But it's a story. It's like, why do I know that? Why do I see that that's valuable? What's the reason that I understand that? And then again, like the Q&A stuff, you being able to ask me questions, me being able to answer them live. Dude, like, tell me what you want to know. Tell me what you need to know. Tell me what you want to see. Let's talk about that. Right? I can talk all day about what I want to talk about, but if it's not valuable to you, and think about this meaning your customers, then why do it? Why are you talking? Right? I think that's one of the, Carlos, your results. Yes, results, dude. It's all about results, man. Everything's about results. So think about this for a quick second. Think about this. Where was I going with this, right? Like, hey, yo, phone's freaking out. Love technology. We'll get this buttoned up, man. When we get to like episode like 50 of Growing Bold, we'll have like a whole separate setup for this. It's going to be good. I'm excited. Rob Clark, why is it so hard for companies to get on board to the new ways of marketing? There's a few reasons for that, Rob. One is that the marketing industry as a whole is a behemoth, man. It is behemoth. There's a lot of companies on the media side, on the agency side, that have just been around for so long. If it changes and they haven't figured out, they're not the ones making the change, but it's changing around them. They're the ones that lose. And they're the ones that have the biggest voices, have the most money. And so they're going to continue to perpetuate the wrong information because it benefits them, right? So that's part of it. The other part is, I think that twofold on the company side, on the client side. Honestly, I don't think there's a lot of people that are truly educating what people need to understand, like what really works and what doesn't really work. Awesome, we got a caller. I don't know, Anthony from Dallas, Texas. I'm gonna break off. I'll come back to your Q&A. Anthony from Dallas, Texas. I'm gonna try to patch this in. This may or may not blow up. I think they finally got the tech sorted out. I apologize if we lose you. I'm gonna answer this. Hang on, and give me 1 second here. Anthony, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, hang on 1 sec. I gotta click another setting. Anthony, you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna try to raise the volume.
Okay, perfect.
Just give me 1 second. All right, my man. What's your question?
Okay, so the challenge that I have is scaling up in business. I wear maybe 40 different hats, so it's tough for me to run the business whether I'm present or not. So my challenge is trying to hire employees to leverage tasks through whether I'm there or not, and if the revenue stream isn't there, how do I hire employees for that?
Got it. And I think the volume's a little bit low, so I apologize if it's hard for anybody to hear you. I'll just kind of reiterate. You're basically saying that you're wearing 40 different hats as an entrepreneur. You need to hire people, but the challenge is that you can't hire people without the additional revenue. How do you stop wearing 40 hats? You can bring in more revenue, and then hire people. Is that right? Is that the ballpark idea? What do you do? What's your business?
Insurance. So we're an insurance agency in Dallas, and we offer all lines of insurance: car insurance, homeowners, renters, health, life, one-stop shop, basically.
Got it. So you sell insurance, and how are you selling now? Like, are you the one selling?
For the most part, yes.
Okay, and what's the challenge? What's holding you back from getting to the revenue point of hiring that next employee?
Well, we're wearing the different hats because trying to balance the health insurance side of things, balance the car insurance side of things, and taking calls because we're mostly cost in the setup. So it's challenging to take all the calls while running all the other business tasks that I have to do on a daily basis.
Got it. And is there a reason that do you have to sell car insurance and health insurance and everything, or could you just sell one type of insurance?
I can just sell one type of insurance, but just say health insurance, for instance, that's more seasonal during open enrollment, whereas car insurance is year-round.
So let me ask you a question. Why not just focus in on selling car insurance right now until you start to really build that up first?
Well, when outside of open enrollment, there's a lot of servicing for the health insurance side. So I'm spending a lot of time servicing that I can't sell the car insurance because it's pulling me away. I'm pulled in too many different directions. Got it.
And what do you have to service the car insurance stuff as much as you service the health insurance? No, right?
Not now because the book isn't as big on the auto side, but it will be, and that's going to be another potential problem in the future, is trying to service the health insurance and the car insurance side.
Got it. And do you make more money on health insurance versus car insurance?
I have the potential to make more money on the car insurance, but with it just being launched about 6 months ago, I make more on the health insurance currently.
Got it. I mean, here's my short answer for you, right? And again, I know the audio is a little bit low, so if anybody, just to catch anybody up who can't really hear clearly, Anthony is trying to figure out how does he scale his company? How does he hire some employees? Getting pulled in 100 directions, selling both health insurance and car insurance and some other stuff, getting pulled into the admin tasks, the setup, to managing these accounts, and doesn't have time to really go out and sell as much as he could. My suggestion for you, man, really would be, it sounds like the car insurance side is definitely the more valuable focus for you, right? It sounds like you in the long run, you'll be able to make more money on the car insurance. It sounds like there's a bigger book, maybe some more support where you wouldn't need to service those accounts necessarily as much as the health insurance side. So for me, I look at it and go, okay, well, there's more upside in that one sector in car insurance, right? It's something where it's not seasonal. It's more frequent because people buy cars all year round for the most part. And so for me, I just say, okay, look, like you need to focus. I think that's one of the biggest challenges that a lot of entrepreneurs and people have is they feel like they got to do everything. You feel like, well, I can't let the health insurance go because I got a couple clients here. That's cool. And maybe you service them out and then transition them off or sell them off to another broker or something. You can take a piece of that commission in the long run. I don't know, right? There's a few ways to do that. But I think if you're going to try to grow, you need to have that focus first. You can't do everything. And so you try and do health insurance, then you're trying to talk about cars, and so you're getting pulled in 110 directions, and you have to service all these different things, which require different focuses, different paperwork, different people for you to manage. Versus if you're just doing, let's say, car insurance, you're dealing with the same people for the most part on the back end of the business side. You're dealing with the same paperwork over and over, so you can make that faster, more efficient. You're selling the same things. Your conversations are the same, right? When you're going to find new customers and new clients, you're going to the same places. You know where people buy cars. You know who needs new cars. You know where those lists exist, right? So you can focus all of your energy. You end up being able to save a lot of time and focus on maybe a smaller piece initially, but I would do that until you can grow that to make your income and your revenue big enough to where you can now afford to hire that first person. Does that make sense?
It does. It makes a lot of sense.
That's awesome. I mean, it's just like for me, and I think for you specifically, anybody really, it's just like sometimes you try to do too much, you end up getting worse results than if you just say, hey, you know what? I'm just gonna own the car insurance market. I'm going to kill that. I'm going to create the best relationships with the people at the dealerships. I'm going to find the best lists. I'm going to figure out like, how do I get in front of these people the fastest? I'm going to talk car insurance all day. It's like the only thing I can think about. You're going to sell more just because you're in that mindset all day and then in the same places around those people versus when you start spreading yourself thin. So I would do that. I focus in. I try to just kill that one market, like really get as good as you can on the sales side. Try to take as much of the admin stuff off your plate as possible. One other tip I would give you is to maybe pick a day or maybe a couple of days and break it up to where you just say, you know what, all my admin tasks, the stuff where I got to file paperwork is on Fridays. I don't do anything. I don't sell on Fridays. I just do all my admin stuff on Fridays. Or maybe you got to do it a couple times per week because of the frequency. I'm not sure. But then you say like, hey, Monday through Wednesday, all I do is sell. Right? Thursday maybe is flex day. Friday, all I do is the paperwork. So now you can focus on selling, then you can focus on an admin task, and it doesn't become this all over the place type of a deal. Is that helpful?
Yes, it is. It definitely is. And I'm definitely going to consider that, focusing on one line of business. But the challenge is the health insurance is what's supporting the business expenses, household expenses, and other miscellaneous expenses as I'm building the car insurance.
Right.
So that's where my struggle is.
Yeah, I mean, look, like you're going to have to figure out like how do you either transition that stuff off, or can you just keep the current amount of accounts that you have? Can you hire somebody entry level to just help with the filing and the paperwork and the admin tasks, where maybe in the short term it's going to cost you a little bit, maybe take a little bit of a loss, but you don't focus in on selling more policies. You just try to manage those so you keep that cash flow coming in while again you're out focusing in on car sales. You could focus in on healthcare if you think it's more viable or you're better at it. I'm just giving the car example because it sounds like there's potentially more money and it's easier and there's a bigger volume potentially. So, but you can make the decision on which of those sectors you feel like you want to focus in on. But I would say like just focus in on one for now and grow that to the point of where you can hire people, you're making enough money, then move into the other sectors. Cool?
Makes sense. I sure appreciate that, man. That really helped me a whole lot, man. And all your content is great, man. And I really want to try to do some business with you one day with Bold, because my marketing and advertising suck right now. So I'm just great at sales, and I need some assistance on that end as well.
I love it, man. Well, listen, we'll do something in the future. I appreciate your time. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for calling, and good luck. Go kill it. Let me know how it works out for you once you make a decision.
Okay, I sure appreciate it. I'll be following up with you on your next interview.
Sounds great, man. Thank you. Awesome. So I'm just going to take that off here, cut the graphic thingy. All right. So anyway, so listen, man, I think Anthony is going through what a lot of people go through. I went through originally, where you try to just be everything. You try to be everything to everybody and you get stretched thin. You don't have enough time. You don't have enough dimes to hire that next person to take stuff off your plate. You're always going to, though, by the way, when you go from that like one person show to like that first person, it's hard. It's a hard leap because you go from, all right, I'm finally getting my head above water. I'm finally making my way. And you have to make the decision, crap, do I go back to eating ramen noodles now so I can hire somebody? The answer is yes, if you want to keep growing, right? You're going to have to take those steps back to get to that next level. That's the do or die, right? That's the do or die is like, do I want to get bigger? Because you can stay a certain size and do everything yourself. And maybe that's cool. Maybe that's comfortable. But it doesn't sound like Anthony, and I'm sure a lot of you, it doesn't sound like the end goal, right? Like you want to grow, you want to sell more, build a business, make a lot more money. You're going to have to delegate at some point. So I focus in on, look, what's the 1, 2, 3 things that we do best? Sell that, sell that, sell that till you get that big enough to where that starts to become a machine. Hire your first person, hire your next people, then maybe add some services, then maybe, tap into your next industry. It's the same thing with big brands that have 1,000 SKUs. And you're like, yeah, but you know what? The top 10% of your products are 90% of your revenue. Why don't you just have 15 products? You'd save on shipping costs, you'd save on headaches, you'd save on employees, you would save on distribution costs, you'd save on product development. Why just not have 15 products? And I've experienced this in the past with a customer, a client. So, well, we have to have all these things because there's all these other areas of the market that we need to service. No, you don't. No, you don't. Let somebody else service that sector of the market. Focus on the stuff that you do best, that is profitable, that drives revenue, that is the most successful, that you can also do the best. Because when you have 15 SKUs and you kill it, it's better off than having 1,500 SKUs and being really mediocre at all of them. So anyway, I'm going to leave you with that, man. Do or die. Think about the do or die. Think about putting yourself in a mindset where whether you literally have to make it work because it's got to work out for you, or you put yourself in a mindset and just say, like, look, like, where would this be in 5 years if I don't make this decision? If I continue to market through through newspapers and radio, where is my business going to be in 5 years? Am I doing it right now because it's safe and comfortable, and maybe that's what my board of directors are comfortable with, right? Or am I doing it because I really think it's right? I know you don't think that's right. I know you know that doesn't work, right? Like maybe you need to learn some new stuff. Maybe you need to step up a bit, right? Which is cool, which is totally okay, right? Getting educated, keeping up with the times. But don't think about like, I'm not worried about like what a board of directors is going to say tomorrow. I want to make sure the company's around in 5 or 10 years. So for me, like that's how my business, that's how I'm going to retain clients, is not by telling them what they want to hear today because it's easy. It's like telling them what they really need to do, having a really good position to say, look, this is why you got to do it. This is what's going to work. This is why you need to change your marketing. This is why you need to change these business tactics. Why you got to change your sales tactics. Because I want you to be around in 5 years. And I want you to kill it in 5 years. And if that works and they get those results, where are they going, man? They're going to stick with me because we told them what to do. When everyone's telling what they want to hear, we're telling them what they need to hear. There's a big difference. And I want you to do the same for yourself, for your company, for your business. I want you to get in that do or die mindset. I want you to be bold, go out there, just live the dream, man. Have some fun. Life isn't all that serious. Enjoy it. And thank you so much. I really do appreciate you tuning in. We do this every Thursday, 1 p.m. And this upcoming Tuesday, we're going to launch episode 8 of Growing Bold. Thank you so much.